What if Wednesdays? Growing up on Digimon, there was a time in my childhood where I probably watched the English dubbed Digimon movie every day in the morning before going to school. So not to my surprise, I'm always thinking about what content to do the next week or weeks in advance. If you have a particular idea you're interested about, it might be down the pipeline, but I might also shift it to an earlier schedule. And remember, if you enjoy this type of content, do consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell for future content. For today's episode, I'm going to go over guilds and what probable effects they'd have. Having also played Magic the Gathering in my life, there's no denying that there's some support for multicolor decks in the Digimon trading card game. Security Control is the only deck that gets a free pass. Because it started as let's throw all the best option cards in one deck to force our opponent to time or deck out, to yellow-black cards as the primary backbone. But looking into the future of other sets, there is a clear distinction of Black-Red Greymon support, whether you go to the Honorable War Greymon route or the dark path of Black War Greymon. Red-Yellow has also seen significant crossover mainly because of Rise Greymon going to yellow or red. Red-Green saw some meshing in the early infancy of the game with Tyrannomon decks and Taiga. Blue-Green early on with Rookie Rush, which would later evolve into a Yellow-Green variant, and some players even played a blue-yellow mesh of it for Quadramon and Tactical Retreat shenanigans. And finally, Purple-Yellow with cheap Lucemon revival shenanigans and Mastamon. This episode is more of a focus on BT8 than anything, and these episodes will be the only time I jump past the American release for topic discussions. But in the grand scheme of things, this episode was inspired by the fact that there is zero overlap for Gabumon in blue and purple. Agumon and the Greymon family are the only Digimon in the card game that have some extensions in other colors, being red, yellow, and black. Yes, I'm aware Skull Greymon is purple, but that one is standalone. In the Digimon trading card game, there are 7 colors in the card game: red, blue, yellow, green, black, purple, and white. For the rest of the episode, I'm going to go over what possible interactions they'd have, but also why there aren't many if any combinations of that type because of the dangerous issues it could bring. And for this episode, I'll be only doing a few combinations. For red, blue, purple decks, there aren't cohesive ways to make red, blue decks right now. My first guess would be to limit memory gain shenanigans you could do with red in general as a color. There are already blue-green cards that are primarily green, but also count as blue, and vice versa. Making cards red-blue would make Davis Motomiya even more valuable if the card is red and blue. Red cards would mean these red-blue cards to not only dig with Davis, but gain access to Hammerspark as well. On the flip side, this opens up potential destruction for blue, as well as for access to Gaia Force. But for me personally, I'd love to make a red-blue Metal Garurumon War Greymon deck to Jagras into Omnimon. A guy can dream, right? Blue-purple, or as I like to call it, Blurple, is where I'd love to see Gabumon ultimately end up. While Crest Garurumon does make an appearance in black, and the Jagras of Ultra S does make sense, a black-purple Ultra S may be in the future. Tangent aside, I'd love to see Gabumon have a junction point where you can switch to the Crest or the Metal. Sure, you could stay in the purple family, but tribal Gabumon support is blue. There's only 2 Gabumon in the purple standing, but I do see the dangers of blue and purple, as a combination for the fact that if you hated for Icewall and for Hammerspark, imagine for Jackraid and Hammerspark with Lilithmon. Black-green is the last color combination I'll go over. Izzy Azumi has been one of my favorite tamers in the game so far, but being in black, I'm honestly surprised there's no Tentomon in black. My personal opinion is if a tamer is made in a specific color, their partner Digimon should also at some point be in the same color. Yes, I do understand that a majority of black Digimon are cyborg, unidentified, or machine, but this is where I wanted Metal Kabuterimon to be, since he is kind of a machine. What are color combination supports you'd love to see in the Digimon card game? And what would you like to see more support of? Let me know in the comments below. This is Digi-Panda, logging out.